Theodore Roosevelt survived an assassination attempt on October 14th, 1912. It happened before a campaign event in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's interesting that Teddy himself, he hated to be called Teddy, by the way, became president due to the assassination of William McKinley when he was serving as vice president in 1910. He was running for president again because he felt betrayed by William Taft. He was instrumental in getting Taft elected, yet it seemed to him that Taft was reversing all of his policies. He ran as a third-party candidate, which split the Republican Party and led to the election of Woodrow Wilson. The assassination attempt was committed by John Schrank, who claimed that the ghost of William McKinley told him to avenge his death. Roosevelt was having dinner at the Gilpatrick Hotel there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was having dinner with one of his supporters who also owned the hotel. Schrank had been following Roosevelt since New Orleans, trying to find an opportunity to assassinate him. Roosevelt left the hotel and he entered his open-air vehicle. He got up, stood up to wave to the cheering crowd, who was enthusiastic at seeing Roosevelt. Schrank took the opportunity to shoot Roosevelt, but the bullet hit his steel eyeglass case and a 50-page copy of a speech he was carrying. This served to reduce the damage that the bullet made. Schrank was taken down by the crowd, and Roosevelt tipped his hat and smiled at the crowd. The crowd began beating him, and other crowd members were yelling, "Kill him," while others yelled, "Hang him." The crowd wanted revenge. Roosevelt yelled to them to stop hitting him, stop hurting the assailant. Then he asked for Schrank to be brought to him, and he asked him why he tried to shoot him, but he did not answer. And Roosevelt just said, "You poor creature." He then told the police to take him away, but not to hurt him. The bullet lodged in Roosevelt's upper right chest, but Roosevelt figured that since he wasn't coughing blood, he could go ahead and give his speech, which he did. His speech lasted almost an hour. After the speech, he went to medical care, but the doctors decided that it was safer to keep the bullet inside of him than to remove it. So Roosevelt carried the bullet inside him for the rest of his life. Roosevelt was asked if it was going to affect his campaign, but he said he was as fit as a bull moose. It's interesting, however, that he would only make 2 more campaign speeches before the election. John Schrank himself was born in Bavaria. His parents moved to New York when he was 9 years old. His parents died soon after, and his uncle took care of him. His uncle was fairly wealthy. He owned a tavern and he owned several properties in the area. And upon his uncle and aunt's death, he inherited all the properties. He was hurt by the loss, however, because he felt as if he had lost, 2 parents within a short amount of time. He also lost his girlfriend, the only girlfriend he would ever have. She died in a steamboat accident in the East River. The ship caught on fire and sank. He sold all of his inherited properties and he just kind of roamed around the East Coast. During this time, he also became extremely religious. When he was arrested, he pled guilty and he had a $7,500 bond, about $250,000 in today's money. When asked why he did it, he said he was opposed to a 3rd term and stated that he wanted to go to sleep. The headlines in the papers were, "Insane Man Shoots Roosevelt." He had a psychological examination, and the doctors reported that he had insane delusions, grandiose in character, and declared him insane. He was committed to the Central State Hospital for the criminally insane in Wisconsin in 1914. He was interned there until he died in September 15th, 1943. His body was then donated to the medical school at Marquette University for anatomical dissection. Roosevelt stated that he was smart to wait until he was in Wisconsin because if he would have tried to kill him in Louisiana, he would probably have been lynched or executed by the courts. If you like these short assassin videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for listening.